Hello everybody! So today I have a longer video for you. I am going to be ranking every single hand cannon in Destiny 2 PvP from an S tier to F tier, just overall how strong I believe the hand cannon is. So just going over what I'm going to be ranking it on. Every hand cannon I'm going to be ranking it on how good it is in a more competitive style of gameplay, whether that be trials or comp. Not so much for quick play, because you can realistically make anything really work in quick play if you play enough, realistically. And overall, I will be looking at the archetypes. Obviously, if it's a 180, it's probably going to be tailored more towards the bottom. And if it's a 120, it's just going to be really good. And I'm going to be basing it off the perks that are on there. And overall, just in my opinion, what is the best hand cannon or the better hand cannons. Now, remember, my opinion. Obviously, this is PvP. Everything feels a little bit different. You could have a hand cannon that I put in D tier, and it might feel great to you and you love using it, and that is okay. Just in my opinion, it is not the greatest weapon. I plan on doing this type of thing for every weapon, hopefully, in Destiny 2. I figured I'd start off with hand cannons because what else would you want? Realistically, hand cannons, I feel like, are really Destiny 2. I feel like when most people think Destiny 2 PvP, they think of hand cannons. But if you do enjoy the video, this video took me a good amount of time. Please do drop a like. Subscribe if you want to, more content like this. I post mostly build videos, but I'm hoping to broaden that a little bit. And overall, have a good day. Thank you. All right, so starting off with Ace of Spades. Now, Ace of Spades Memento Mori got a little bit nerfed this season, but I still think it's a fantastic hand cannon. It's a 140, which on 140s, in my opinion, you could make them work, but they're definitely not in the greatest spot when you're actually playing to win. But due to Memento Mori being up all the time, doing 90 to the head, the hand cannon just having great range, high cal, third eye, it's a fantastic hand cannon. I think Ace of Spades belongs right in the A tier. It's not super, super strong to the point that it's oppressive, but it's definitely strong enough that you can definitely compete. All right, so starting off with every single legendary hand cannon, I'm just going to get this out of the way now. They'll either have barrels or sights, and honestly, I'm not going to really say too much on that just because everybody I feel like is a little bit different. I know there are people who love full bore. I personally don't like full bore, but then I have a friend who really likes fluted because he just wants as much handling as he can. So, but every hand cannon has the same barrels or sights. Realistically, look for something that you want for that one. And then for this slot, you're either going to want accurized or ricochet, and every hand cannon in the game can roll with that stuff, except for the exotic ones, of course. So I'm just going to be looking at the two main perks for every single hand cannon. All right, so Ancient Gospel. So it has Slag Shot, but the other perks aren't that great, if I'm being honest. So Swashbuckler, it's all right. Kill Clip's okay. Rangefinder got nerfed pretty hard. And then Dragonfly isn't that great. So Ancient Gospel, Slag Shot's fantastic, but everything else about it is pretty lackluster. So I'm probably just going to put it in the C. It's middle of the pack. It's okay. You can get work done, but it's not that great. All right, Annual Skate. 140. It's also got Slag Shot on it, which isn't bad. Opening Shot, which is decent, but I don't really value Opening Shot too much on primaries. It's okay. The first shot is having crazy aim assist is cool, but that's honestly, I don't really care for it. Fantastic for specials, not great for primary. Time Payload, if you like it, is actually really good, but again, I don't know. It's a 140. Honestly, I think this one's D. I don't think it's that great. I don't know. It's just it could definitely use a little better perks. Austringer. Great hand cannon. It's a 140. It's got decent perks. If you want air assault, that's pretty good nowadays. Snapshot's good. I have the Storm's fantastic. Opening shot's okay. Zen Moment is really good. But unfortunately with 140s, to be honest with you, I feel it needs to have explosive to be really viable, in my opinion. If it doesn't have an explosive as a 140, I cannot, put it past, honestly, B tier. Other than the exotics, of course. It's just, it needs explosive for it to be really, really top tier. All right, bottom dollar, 120 hand cannon. Bottom dollar, even though it has a million different perks, is just a good hand cannon. It's got Slag Shot, that's really good. Rapid Hood, it's really good. Killing Wind, if you're that type of person, really good. I have the Storm. You can run Rampage if you run a kinetic mod on it, a kinetic surge. Explosive's really good. Honestly, just though it's impossible to get a good one, I think bottom dollar is a top tier hand cannon. It's got so many good perk options on it. Surplus if you like that. So I put it right in the A tier. Kaita. Let's see. So Eye of the Storm, good. Time payload's all right. Yeah, again, it's just kind of an average 120. I guess you could run this and that would be good, or this and that would be good. Definitely think it's better than Ancient Gospel, but I still put it in C. I definitely do not think it's that great. Mind Action. Now, I remember when this thing came out, I made a video on it and I hated it. I hate this gun. I just don't think it feels good. However, it does have some okay perks on it. You can use Tunnel Vision, Kill Clip, obviously, or Adagio is a great two tapping, but you wouldn't really want Tunnel Vision on it if that, so that you'd probably want Zen Moment Adagio in that case. The origin trait's pretty decent, but I don't know. The stat package isn't great. I think this is probably one of the worst 120s in the game. Still better than these 140s, but I'd probably put it in C. Pretty mid, not that great. Price is inverted. Another 140. Rapid hit's decent. That's decent. Yeah, I don't know. This 140 is pretty bad. Not gonna lie. I think I would put this one right in the D tier. There's nothing really super like good on it. There's no slide shot. You don't have explosive payload. It's not good. This is a bad hand cannon. Honestly, I'm gonna put it in F. Like this is you have no reason to ever use this hand cannon. Not good. All right, Camille's dagger. Let's see what we can do here. Now, honestly, this is a 120 hand cannon. This was one of the first one in the game with kill clip on it, which kill clip on 120, super good. Definitely been a little power crept, but the thing is, there's nothing like super fantastic in this slot. Obviously, moving target's pretty good. Snapshot's all right, but everything else is pretty poor. Explosive payload's not bad. So yeah, I definitely think it's a mid 120 as well. We're gonna have a lot of C tiers. I feel like. All right, Crimson. Now, Crimson is honestly a really strong hand cannon. I think this hand cannon is fantastic. Obviously, most people would say it's really good on controller, but I don't know. I think if you have good aim and you can get used to it and lower your FOV, it is really strong. I put Crimson in B tier. You get health back. It flinches a lot. I think Crimson is really good. Okay, DFA next. I screwed up my little order here, but it's fine. We'll make it work. So DFA, I think it's just, I don't know. Its perks are not the greatest. Obviously, you can run Perpetual Motion's good if you want some stability. Fragile Focus isn't bad. Yeah, none of these perks are all that great though for it. Like you'd never really care for Rampage. Vorpal's kind of whatever. Opening Shot's probably the best option here, but if Opening Shot's the best option on a primary, I just don't think it's good. So DFA, we are going to put in the D tier. Oh, Dire Promise. I love this hand cannon. I remember back in the day when it was the strongest, but it just has not kept up with the times because this perk pool, like, the best thing you could probably get is opening shot rangefinder or opening shot, I guess, maybe under pressure. But it is just, it pains me to do it, but in the F tier, it is so bad. Just its stats are awful. The perk pool is awful. How Dire Promise has fallen. Now, this hand cannon, I remember everybody being so hyped for in the trailers. And then it came out, and it's good. I think it's okay. Eye of the Storm Keep Away is really good. I honestly really like the field hand cannon. If you get Keep Away procced, you have 52 range with a decent amount of reload. But like I said earlier, it's a 140 with just mediocre stat packaging. Good perks, but the mediocre stat packaging just can't carry it. And 140s, like I said earlier, I feel like really need explosive to compete. So D. Ice Luna. This is a great hand cannon for stability because you can get perpetual motion. You can get, you know. All right, so Ice Luna. So it's got perpetual motion on it. Kill clip's okay. Moving target. Moving target and perpetual motion just makes for a really stable hand cannon. But it definitely is not the strongest hand cannon in the game by any means. Even like it just doesn't have anything really going for it, to be honest. So I'll put it in the C. It's better than these ones, but it's not better than these ones. Exiled Truth. Now this hand cannon is a stat monster. It is really good, but unfortunately, it didn't really handle having rangefinder nerfs very well because the rest of the perks here are not very good. Killing Wind's okay, but everything else is not the greatest. If there's ever a day where Gut Shot becomes super meta, it could be good, but with the high resilience meta we're in, it's not like the greatest, that's for sure. Eye of the Storm's good, so probably you'd run Rangefinder, Eye of the Storm, or Rangefinder Killing Wind. and it could be good. It's just not the greatest. It obviously has some good origin traits too, but C. I don't know. I just feel like most 140s just aren't the greatest. Now, speaking of good 140s, we are on to Fatebringer. This 140 right here is fantastic. It runs the perfect perk you need. Explosive payload, Eye of the Storm, fantastic. I love Fatebringer. It is so good, and it deserves a spot. Definitely, probably the best hand cannon in the tier list so far. So good. I wouldn't say it's S tier, but it's definitely very, very strong and very good. Frontier's Cry. Whew, 180 hand cannon. So it can be decent with Adagio. It can be decent with Kill Clip. You can get your 3 taps, but it's still a 180, so it's going right into the D tier. It is. Its stat package isn't the greatest. Obviously, you can get some range on it, but that just butchers your stability. It's not great. It's definitely 180s need some help. All right, so Hawkmoon. So Hawkmoon is great. Fantastic 140. It's one of the outlier 140s that is really, really good. It can roll opening shot, which arguably I think is really good on Hawkmoon, just due to the fact that you can hit your lucky shot a lot easier. I'd say Eye Storm's probably the best. Fantastic dueling perk. And then obviously having the ability to 2-tap and 1-tap is crazy. I put Hawkmoon honestly above Ace. Hawkmoon is so good. Fantastic for comping trials. All right, Igneous Hammer. Yeah, this is a gun that's in D2. It is super strong, especially with the perk refresh. You got things like Keep Away, which gives it crazy range, gives it a shit ton of reload speed. Precision Instrument, super strong. If you want to do a little more damage, you get a little bit more range from it, as well as making it so you can 3-tap over shields. Eye of the Storm, fantastic. Depending on if you just want a passive bonus, moving target, great. Rapid hit, fantastic. Encore can be pretty good. Fragile Focus, pretty good. I think if I put this anything other than S tier, people would lose their mind, and I would agree. This is the best hand cannon in the game, probably. Igneous, so good, so good. The Ikelos hand cannon. We went from one of the best hand cannons to one of the worst. This thing is just not good. You can get, I guess, Rampage, but I don't even think Rampage actually changes your time to kill. No, it doesn't. You need to get multiple stacks, I think. Oh, actually, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not the worst. It's still not great though. If you're running people, so many people run max resilience. Obviously, you can run Focus Fury if you want to play a little mini game. This thing just sucks. F tier. It's behind everything. This is the worst thing on the list so far. All right, the Judgment. So this hand cannon, it gets Slag Shot, and that's the only really redeeming factor. Slag Shot, opening shot's pretty good, but I don't know. I think it's another middle of the road hand cannon. Its stats aren't great, so we're just right in the C tier with every other middle of the road hand cannon. See, I have a special place in my heart for this hand cannon because I think it just feels so good. But the perks just aren't the greatest. Eye of the Storm, one of the best perks, fantastic. But then it just has nothing really going for it. If it had Slag Shot or Explosive Payload or something in this column, it would be so good. But the best thing you got is either Quick Draw or Killing Wind. I have Killing Wind on mine, but that's just because I play a lot of Quick Play. If I played more Trials and Comp, honestly, I'd probably put Quick Draw on it. It's Strand, so it's got that going for it at least. So it works with Strand subclasses. The range isn't the greatest. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say this thing's top of C. Maybe I'd say probably B if you run a Strand subclass. If you don't run a Strand subclass, then it's definitely top of C tier. Lullaby. 120 hand cannon. It can get explosive. It can get Eye of the Storm. It can get kill clip. It can get Slag Shot. What else, honestly, do you really want? The perks or the stat packages on it isn't the greatest, but I definitely think it's a really solid hand cannon. I'd put it in B. All right, Lumina. Lumina, good hand cannon. I think it is. It by itself isn't the greatest, but once you get the damage buff going, it's pretty good. I'd honestly put a Lumina above these ones. Getting a damage buff for you and your teammate, super strong. All right, so this is a 120, and it just doesn't have the greatest perks. Explosive payload's good, but I feel like it's not most necessary on a 120. It's still good. Getting free reload speed, not bad. Discord's kind of whatever, and Harmony can be great for certain builds, but other than that, definitely not a great 120. It is a 120 though, so I will put it in C, but I can't say or can't feel right putting it anywhere else just due to it being a 120. Malfeasance, it's a 180. It can be decent with team shot, but every single hand cannon is decent with team shot. Goes in the D. It's probably better than these guns, but still not great. Ooh, Nation of the Beasts. I actually love this hand cannon. It is so good. It has explosive payload, which we want. It has keep away, which we want. And it is craftable, so you can get the perfect roll that you want. Fantastic hand cannon. Right up in the A tier. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot this hand cannon, Nature of the Beast, even existed. This thing is... It has nothing redeemable on it. Like, none of these perks you'd want. This is arguably the worst hand cannon in the game. Right next to the Igneous one. Alright, so Posterity. Now, it is a 180. I will say that. But this is probably the perfect 180. I feel the only way you can actually really build into 180s to make them somewhat competitive is build into damage perks. So I feel like you need to go with Rampage and then Killing Wind. And then once you get that kill, then this thing is super juiced and super good. But obviously, it requires you to get that kill, which in higher level PvP isn't always the case because other weapons are just that much better than it. But I will say it is probably the best 180. So I will put it right at the bottom of C tier. These are all still better than it, but I would say it's better than all of these. Pure Poetry. I had some hopes for this hand cannon when it came out because I really hoped that Focus Fury would, make it so much better, which it does. It can make it better if you're playing people who are lower resilience. It can 2-tap, but other than that, it's just not the greatest. So if we ever get to a point where resilience isn't meta anymore, then maybe this can make a play, but other than that, it's not the greatest. Swashbuckler for 2-taps could be good. Eye of the Storm's good. Rampage can be okay. Obviously, Elemental Capacitor is fantastic. If you really want to, you could go for like an AE build on Strand, and it could be great. Perpetual Motion's decent. Overall, a decent 120. It's not the best by any means, but I'd say it's decent. I would definitely put it. It's better than this, so probably at the bottom of B tier. Now, Rose. This hand cannon. It has everything you'd ever want. You have Slide Shot, you have Explosive, you get grips for more stat bumps, you get the lightweight frame for an extra 20 mobility. This thing is by far the best 140 in the game. It belongs in S tier right next to Igneous. Igneous is better than it just due to Igneous being a 120. 140s just aren't the greatest just due to the way that they work. But it is so stupidly strong because explosive payload is broken. And then Slide Shot is fantastic on hand cannons. Getting that huge stat bump. Rose, definitely top of the food chain for 140s. Round Robin. Now, I know when this hand cannon came out, it made waves just due to the kill clip. And I do think it is super strong having kill clip, keep away, or you can even run Elemental Capacitor, keep away. Overall, fantastic 120. I do not think it belongs in S tier, but it is definitely A tier. Fantastic. Honestly, I'd put it ahead of these two. Honestly, probably add a Fatebringer too. I'd say the round robin is so good. It's actually a good 120. We went from good to pretty bad. 7th Seraph Officer Revolver. Another 180. Haha, yay. Now, this thing's good in PvE, but it is doo-doo butts in PvE, or PvP, sorry. No, it has nothing really redeemable about it. F. All right, something new. So this hand cannon, they brought it back in 2023 and gave it actually a good perk refresh. Getting kill clips good, rapid hits good. You could run Demolitionist. Overall, it's not the best 120 in the world, but I'd say it's pretty good. I'd put this one in B tier. It's a good 120. But 120s are so strong, so you can honestly run them at base form and they'd just be good. All right, Spare Rations. How they killed my boy. 4 Spare Rations. Slide Shot, fantastic. Opening Shot is decent. But it just doesn't have anything really going for it in this slot. If they gave it Slide Shot Explosive, ooh, this thing would be so good. But it's just... It's a good feeling hand cannon. I love the feel of it. But honestly, I honestly just want to throw it in C. But just for Spare Rations, no, we're throwing it in C. It's bad. Yeah, probably like right there. Top of C tier, but I want to put it in B just because it's Spare Rations, but it doesn't get special treatment. Another 180. Let's just... Slide Shot's good. Eye of the Storm's decent. it's just bad. Just F tier. This is just the place for really bad 140s and 180s. All right, so next up, we're going to be looking at Slingshot. Slingshot is great. I love this gun. The only reason you don't see it more is because it's a little bit lower aim assist, but it belongs right in A tier. 150, explosive payload, fantastic. Hey, targeted redacted. Now, this hand cannon can be decent. Honestly, if you spam your abilities, it has explosive, which is good. It's got keep away, which is good. Honestly, its issue is this column right here. Like, well rounded's okay. And then perfect float is decent, but it's just like, it can get pretty high stats if you really build around it, but just the hand cannon itself is not that great. But it is a 120, but it probably will put it in C. Right, so Thorn up next. Now, we know Thorn is getting a catalyst next season, which is going to bump up its range, stability, and just make it super juiced. I don't think this is actually going to be anything game breaking. I could be wrong. You could quote me on that. But I think people are overblowing how strong Thorn is going to be with this catalyst. Is it going to be good? Yes, I think Thorn will be very good with this catalyst. But I don't think it's gonna go from being, honestly, right now it's C tier. I don't think it's gonna go from C all the way to S tier. I feel like I'll rank it with the catalyst in mind, in my opinion. But realistically, right now, I'd rank it probably mid C tier with the catalyst. Probably either high B tier, low A tier. But we will. I love this hand cannon. It's my favorite in the game. But I'll probably put it high B tier right now after the catalyst comes out. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I love Thorn, so I really hope it's the best hand cannon in the game. But I think people are overhyping what the catalyst is really going to do for it. All right, so Sturm 120, fantastic stat package. Overall, fantastic hand cannon. We are going to put this right up here in the A tier. The only thing is, it obviously doesn't really have a good exotic perk because you need to use Drang with it to really utilize it. But I think the base stat packaging, high magazine, fantastic. All right, the Palindrome. Now, this was the best hand cannon in the game at one point. The stats on it, fantastic. It can roll adept mods, but with the nerf to rangefinder, honestly, there's not really a whole lot here you'd want. Like, you could run high impact reserves to really, maybe help you out a little bit for somebody who's a little lower resil, running 1 or under, which, it's just, and then even here, there isn't a whole lot going for it. It's just, because quick draw, at the time, quick draw gave you max handling all the time, and then rangefinder gave you the range. So it was fantastic. But now it's just, you could run like maybe Thresh, Unrelenting. It's just, I don't know. It's just, its stats are so good, but the perks just suck. So honestly, Palindrome, it's like, just due to its high stat package, I'll put it in low C tier. It's better than these, but it's like, it's just not good anymore, unfortunately, just due to all the nerfs that have happened. All right, True Prophecy. True Prophecy is once again one of the best 120s in the game. At a certain point, this was a fantastic when Beyond Light came out with all the 2-tapping 120s, but it just, explosive payload can be good, but there's not really anything super amazing in this slot. So it's just kind of a lackluster 120, if I'm being honest. So in the C tier with every other hand cannon. All right, the last word. I think the last word can be very good on controller. You can make it decent on M and K because it requires a lot of work to be good. You have to aim really hard on M and K. Controller, I would say it's probably, honestly, it's probably A tier for controller, and then I'd say I don't think it's B, or I don't think it's C, but I also don't think I think it's in between these two. We'll put it low B tier for M and K. I'll just put it in A tier because controller. But for M and K, I'd say it's low B tier. I think it is better than these hand cannons. So I'll put it in low B tier. Hey, Steady Hand. Now this hand cannon, I love this 120. It feels so good. You got things like Slide Shot, and then you can get Iron Grip on it. With Slide Shot, the reload speed doesn't matter. You get so much stability. You can get Swashbuckler if you want to, if you want to build into that. But I truly believe that Iron Grip it makes it so it doesn't move. This 120 is so good. I don't think it's as good as like Igneous, and probably not as good as Round Robin, but I'll put it in the bottom of it. It's better than bottom dollar. The Trust, another 180 hand cannon. This thing it's got a lot of perks, and you can have some fun, cool builds with it if you use, Golden Tricorn. It's got explosive payload, which is good. It has slide ways, which kind of sucks. If it had slide shot, that would be good, but slide ways isn't the greatest. It just doesn't have any redeemable perks here. I'd say it's better than F, but probably D tier. Well, Pecula. So the only really real redeemable thing on this is it has explosive on it. Obviously, you can make Adagio work, but it's, I don't know. I just don't think Adagio is worth it for most guns. It just, yeah, it makes you do more damage, but your time to kill is slower. Put it in an F. Waking Visual. This poor hand cannon has such an awful stat package. Its handling isn't bad, but everything else is pretty lackluster. However, it does have slide shot, opening. It's just, I feel like it's a lot of hand cannons. Like a lot of these ones in the C tier have slide shot opening, and it's just, it's good, but it's not the greatest. I'd say Spare Rations is definitely better than it. We'll probably put it there. Now, Warden's Law. Now, this hand cannon always bugs me because on paper, it looks fantastic. It's time to kill, not the greatest, but if you can get kill clip, obviously it works really good. It's like an aggressive hand cannon. And honestly, I'm not really focusing too much on builds in this, but the biggest thing that really makes it good is obviously if you get Radiant, being able to 4 burst, anybody tier, or 2 burst rather, anybody tier 8 or lower, just automatically, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Like Radiant doesn't normally lower the TTK of most guns by this much. Now, obviously, I'm just basing the gun off the gun, so I'm not going to really go into that. But moral of the story is this gun disappointed me, and I expected it to be a lot better. But its biggest issue is you need to build into stability to really make those shots tight to actually hit. And then if you build into stability, then you can't build into range, which makes it so then you have negative range because this thing just doesn't have a lot of range. It only has 31 base before you add more range to it. So it's not good. It's better than F, but I'd put it in bottom of D. I was really hoping this hand cannon would be so much better. All right, Word of Crota. Honestly, I'd probably say this is the second best 180 in the game. Sword Logic, really good. Precision Instrument can be pretty good depending on the situation. Rampage, good. Killing Wind, good. Because like I said, I feel like you need to build these 180s into being good after a kill. There's no way to make them good before a kill. You can give them as much accuracy perks as you want, but it just doesn't matter. They need to be good for after a kill. So I think it's good. I don't think it's Posterity good, but I'd say it's top of D tier. All right, so last one, Finite Impact. You might be wondering, why did I save this one till last? Is it some secret meta? No, I just forgot to add it in my list, and when I went through, I missed it. So yeah, it's the last one. A little bit out of alphabetical order, but it's fine. All right, so this thing has Killing Wind, which is okay. Slide Ways, which is bad. If it had Slide Shot, that'd be good, but Slide Ways makes it bad. Iron Reach is decent, but it just butchers your stability. Obviously, you can run Elemental, but that requires you to run certain things. Yeah, no, this hand cannon sucks. This thing goes right in the D tier. All right, well, that is my hand cannon tier list. Obviously, I feel like you can move things around a little bit, but overall, I would say all of these hand cannons are worth using. If you really want to try super hard, I would use one of these too. But overall, I feel like the issue is most hand cannons are just not the greatest, and then there's a couple that have been power craft. And just due to the way the game works, 180s just aren't great. 120s, honestly, you don't even really need that good of a roll, just how safe they are, how much damage they put out. And then 140s, I truly believe for a legendary one to be good, they need to have explosive payload. It was either rangefinder or explosive payload, and then they nerfed rangefinder. So now it's just explosive payload's good on them. And if it doesn't, it's not good in my opinion. Well, how do you feel about the tier list? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at being like, how did I put this in C tier? What do you mean Judgment isn't S tier? But overall, I think if you're trying to compete, just focus on these hand cannons. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Thank you so much and have a good day.